James Renault and Mark Gannon here, and welcome to another IEEPA tariff refunds video. IEEPA stands for International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And the first question you need to ask yourself is, if we're trying to look for an IEEPA tariff refund, did our company actually pay IEEPA tariffs? So the first question you need to ask yourself is, were you the importer of record? So Mark, break it down for the person that's listening to this. What does that mean when we say, were you the importer of record? Because you need that to qualify for these tariff refunds.
That's exactly right, James. Thanks for that. So, effectively, are you the company that actually paid those tariffs in that period? Now, there is a period that these IEEPA tariffs have gone for, and it's basically from February 2025, and they went to, I can't remember when exactly in 26, but that they changed and they evolved and they morphed it. They were layered, very complex. The point is, though, it's a period of time, and an importer of record is the company that actually paid to get the import in. Now, it's not the broker. A lot of people are getting confused. So a lot of companies use a customs broker. They are not the importer of record. The importer of record is the company that paid for it, that was invoiced for it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Why would you think about getting a refund if you weren't the company that actually paid for the tariffs? So
Yeah.
this is super, super important question. Again, if we're looking for the refunds, did our company pay the tariffs? So need to ask that question. Now, that is question number one that you need to ask yourself. The next part of this is checking your custom documents. The specific form is Form 7501, your ACE reports, your HTS codes, and the country of origin. And that's where this gets more complex, but it's checking the boxes, making sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. When you're talking about potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars worth of refunds, you need to make sure is in order. And these are the key terms: Form 7501, ACE reports, HTS codes, and country of origin. And we're also going to have other videos breaking down these items separately. But Mark, your thoughts on that in terms of checking those specific documents?
So, James, what I did want to say, and it's a remiss of me, us not saying this at the very, very beginning of the video. What you're seeing now is it's not as easy as it sounds. It's quite a complex and very tricky field. So this is why you actually need legal representation. Now, James and I are not lawyers. So what we ask you to do is get your own advice, but this is specialist legal advice. Not every lawyer can do this. They have to be qualified to argue in the International Court of Trade. So it's a big thing. You just can't go to a special, a standard lawyer. So let me go back to answering James' questions. So it's a combination to find that you're an importer of record. It's a combination of things that you have to find, which is this form 7051, which is
7501.
7501, which is the actual receipt of what's been imported. The ACE reports that shows the broader customs activity, what actually has happened, where has it come from, the HTS codes, and as James said, we're going to go into these a little bit more because these acronyms can be very confusing. But a HTS code is effectively the code that is allocated to the particular thing that's been imported. And finally, the country of origin. Now, I didn't know this. Country of origin, it may have come from China, but the way the customs department looks at it, has it been substantively, that's a mouthful, made? So, although it may have been imported from China, it may have been made in India, and there's that comes into play as well. So how the heck is a normal business person supposed to look at all of this? It's very complex.
Absolutely. So that is just to summarize again, checking the custom documents, Form 7501, ACE reports, HTS codes, and the country of origin. The third thing you need to think about is the fact that timing matters. Your refund path depends on where the entry is in the liquidation window. So the big thing for the business is not just did we pay, it's also are we still inside the right filing window? Mark, do you want to expand on that? What does that mean? Are we still inside the right filing window?
Okay, so I've got some notes here, guys, guys and girls, so I'm going to refer to it. So even if your company paid the IEEPA tariffs, waiting too long can actually change your options. So some entries may be eligible for a CAPE declaration, and in many cases you can do that yourself, but some may require a protest. Now, a protest is a legal procedure. And older, more complicated entries may need also legal review. So the safest message is you've got to pull the entry data now and have it referred before assuming at all that the opportunity to claim these IEPA tariffs are still open. So it's very, very tricky. Now, James is actually asking, are we still in the right filing window? What the heck is a filing window? No wonder people are getting confused. So, what happens is now I'm going to refer to some notes here. So, your internal brief, which is what you've actually lodged, uh, explains the liquidation usually occurs around 314 days after the entry. So, 314 days after you've actually lodged the tariff, there's a clock that starts, and there's two key clocks. So listen up. There's a CAPE filing window, and that's pronounced or spelt CAPE. We're going to go into that in another video. But a CAPE filing window starts and a protest window. Now, a protest window is actually a legal procedure. So be aware of that, guys. So the CAPE, you can actually do it yourself, whereas the other one, it's actually a protest, which is a legal procedure. The important thing is with the CAPE window, it, it's got a clock on it, 314 days. Now, if your tariffs were paid, now listen up. Here we go. If your tariffs, now remember this IEPA Act started in February. So 314 days after that, it's coming up. So if that clock has passed, you have to do a protest from what my understandings are. Okay. Now, how the heck is a standard business person supposed to understand that? CFOs were going to find it hard to actually track as well. So, in plain language, you have to do your research basically, and you need to actually work with a professional legal firm to actually make sure that you're claiming what you can claim. Very important.
So with this video and any of the videos that we have on this channel, it's a long, convoluted process. There's billions of dollars of refunds available to companies. But people need help to do this. And we have an option below, and there's a link below in the description. You click on that. The form takes about 30 seconds to a minute to fill out. This sees if you're qualified to move to the next stage in the process. So you fill that out. If your company would qualify for these refunds, we'll have a representative reach out to you and then get you to the appropriate people to go deeper and figure this out for you and get the money that your company deserves. Mark, speak to that. Speak to how this is very difficult for the average person to do, if they're even able to do it at all, to try and get these refunds and why we have this process set up.
one of the big things that's happening, James, is that a lot of companies have a customs broker. Now, a customs broker cannot argue in the International Court of Trade. So what's happening is potentially they are missing out on, they're leaving money on the table because a customs broker can only do so much. So what we've done is we've partnered with a specialist law firm that's got over 40 years of history in customs and tariffs. In fact, they've actually got their own department specialized in dealing with tariff related matters. Um, be aware that there's only 10 law firms throughout the whole of the US that can actually do this. There's only 150 specialized lawyers across the US that can actually do this. So, our legal partner uh, is a top 100 law firm. So I suppose you can say we're not messing around because we want to give people the confidence that they will get back everything that they're owed.
Absolutely. So fill out the link below. Takes 30 seconds to a minute to fill out. There's no cost to do so. If the information looks like you would qualify, we'll have a representative call you. Again, no cost to speak to someone, and then we'll get you through the process. So bottom line, click on that link, fill it out below, and then we'll see you on the next video.